Hello. Good evening, um, good afternoon, I guess good morning. When you watch this video, I just want to say it's 4 p.m. here in Washington, D.C. So if you're watching this video from another country or another state or another city, this might be different time zone. And also if you watch this video on a different day or a different time, this could be also a different time zone. If you're watching this video at 2 p.m., it's good afternoon. If it's 4 p.m., it's good evening. And if it's in the morning, it's good morning. As you can see, now I am making a video in my own vehicle. I no longer make a video in my own house, my own apartment, because I realized that this is like yesterday was Sunday, October 12th. Today is Monday, October 13th. And it marks the second week of October and the first Monday of October, I believe. No, the second Monday of October. And as you already know, usually this time I'm in school or I'm studying, I'm doing something. But now today there was no school today. There is no school. Usually my classes are from 7:40 p.m. until 8 o'clock. So at this point, actually it's from 5:10 until 7:40. So by today there is no classes, but I still came to campus because one thing I enjoyed about going to this university, the Catholic University, is the fact that they do provide free training for the gym. So I got free trainer, and for the last couple weeks the trainer has been training me how to go to the gym, how to use the equipment. So now I've been coming in every once in a while. So today is Monday, even though there's no classes, I still came here to do a workout. So yesterday I was thinking maybe instead of making videos in my own room, I need to upgrade and make videos outdoor. So maybe when I'm exercising, when I'm walking around, I just make a 15-minute video, talk about something that I do or care about, or something that I'm working on at the moment. So, but today is raining, as you can see. There's some drizzle in my window, and this is the campus. This is the Catholic University campus. I'm on the other side of the campus. So I parked here because it's free. It's 3-hour parking, and it's a whole day, so I'm not gonna have any problem. I hope that the car is actually brighter. I don't know if it's bright or not, but I don't want to roll the windows down because cars are passing by. It's gonna be loud, so I'm trying to make it simple. Hope you can see me. My camera shows that my face is bright, yeah. So like I mentioned yesterday, but before I begin my my topic for today, I just want to congratulate the Israel and Palestine for signing a peace deal or ceasefire. My neighbor Donald Trump has gone to Egypt in Africa, right, which is where I'm from, and he's going to sign a peace deal between these two nations or two territories. I don't know if they're even countries. I don't know, like they're just territories. And for the last 2 years, since October 3rd or October 23rd, something like that, I was in undergrad at the UC Riverside in California, and it was like few years after I've met a prime minister of Israel, with the discussions on how Israel is working and stuff like that. And a few years later, we had a kidnapping. I saw that on the internet, social media, people posting about it. I think it was on Instagram. People posting how the Hamas came and grabbed some Israelis having fun and partying, and they kidnapped them. They took the hostages. So since then, Israel has been pounding the Palestinian territories, demanding to release the hostages, and it's been really brutal, really tough, really bad. And so yeah, today they're signing a peace deal. Trump, I think, is gonna be getting like some sort of medal of honor for doing that. Trump has a big supporter from the United States who are anti-Palestine, they are pro-Israelians. But he's been trying his best not to have Israel bombard Palestine. We all understand, like people like me, we understand that Israel is destroying Palestine, but at the same time we have people who are just supporting Israel, like for religious reasons, not any other reasons. So it's a good news for me. I am really excited for this, and I'm happy for this sort of accomplishment, and I hope that this is going to be an amazing journey as Palestine and Israel rebuild themselves and eventually get to have a peaceful transition. That here needs to be rebuilt, needs to be changed. They have such a wonderful territory. Like when you see where Palestine is, it's on the ocean, and that ocean can be turned into a multi-billion-dollar tourism area. They can be turned into a shipping hub for all the shipments across the board. So it's such a wonderful place, but it happened to be a place that is infected by terrorist people who are supported by Iran, and Iranian regime, which is the supreme leader of Iran, destroying that area. So it's been brutal. It's bad for Egypt, it's bad for Africa, and it's bad for the Middle East, and it's bad for Asia. So anyways, moving on to this topic, what I'm working on a research which is talks about the poverty. Why don't we see, like there's a question, why don't we see poverty converging? Why don't we see poor nations and rich nations convert? For some areas, like I mentioned, Israel probably has support from the United States and Europe, right? So we can have an excuse for that, right? But for other nations, like in Africa, nations don't have wars, they don't have conflicts. Like we see Burundi, we see Rwanda, we see Uganda, we see Tanzania, Kenya, and Congo doesn't have war in the whole country. Just one part of Congo has wars and conflict. Central African Republic, right? Like these areas, we see it's Nigeria. Nigeria doesn't have war. We see South Africa. We only have South Africa. We see like a lot of white people successful, black people not successful. You know, Zimbabwe, Brazil, all those countries. South America, same stuff. Even in the United States, we see states like West Virginia, which is a state that has been in my mind for so long. It's not developing. We don't know why. So why don't we see poverty converging? Why don't we see poor countries converge to the same level as rich countries? Because these countries share the same stuff. If we are to based on economic model of output, each country has human beings. You know, like if you go to Uganda, for example, you have men and women, and even strong as well, right? They speak good English, they are educated, they are smart, they take care of their families, they have society, they have community, they are organized. But what seems to be a problem that they cannot emerge. You know, why is it that their productivity isn't really going up? Is it because they don't want to? Of course not. Because if that was the case, then I wouldn't be here, right? Because I want development, I want productivity, jobs, opportunities, right? Research, innovations. Why don't we see that? So what I'm working on the research with my team is to understand what could be the main reasons behind the poverty converging. And it's very hard to measure this problem because you can measure productivity, but you can't measure why people are not producing. You know, like because there is no any specific base, like there's no specific measurement of doing this. We can come up with assumptions and theories, but we can't necessarily say that these are true reasons why countries don't converge. But when I was looking at the research yesterday, because I was supposed to work on research, my friends are supposed to work on another research, and then started those research, do empirical analysis. It's called the literature review, however they pronounce it. And my literature review was focused mostly on Kenya, and another country was India, the Bangladesh, like those poor countries. And what I found out was that, and I'm gonna share about my other people, my friends, because we share the PDF. What I found out was that sometimes there are other things that makes people poor. For example, people don't really progress when they are poor. Poverty is a problem on its own. We don't think about poor people as something that like vague, like we don't really know what it is. But poor is poor. Like when you're poor, you lack everything from knowledge, which is technology. You have no skills. You lack nutrition, like better foods. You lack organizations. And then this also leads to sort of lack of productivity in general. Like can't produce. Life expectancy, and people are poor, they don't live longer. Even if they do, it's usually they have to struggle with a disease or some sort of things that they cannot control. And then productivity is a problem that comes hand in hand with lack of support to lack of production to support the population. So when people are poor and they have no nutrition, they have no enough food, that means they have to produce. When they produce, because they have nothing else to do, when they produce, as the population goes up, the resources goes down, and the number of people working or producing the output dramatically decreases, creating a huge problem. And I keep referring back to China, but I'm not gonna go talk about China as much. I already talked about it, one child policy, but I'm focusing more like on African nations. You have people, a small number of people producing, but a large group of people consuming. And when that happens, it creates an imbalance of labor, right? Like in Uganda, you have few people producing food, working in agriculture, and then you have people consuming. Like if you look at Kampala, Uganda, the city has 2.5 million people, right? The rest of the population lives in a village, and that population does not use technology or the equipment to produce enough food to feed the population in a city. And that's just one city. We're talking about Mbarara, Masaka, right? Those are cities. We're talking about areas like Entebbe. On top of that, Uganda, because of the money and demand, they have to ship foods to people overseas, like Dubai and Saudi Arabia. So that keeps people, makes people not to have enough food, not to produce enough to consume. And then when there's lack of investments to increase machines and technology, it makes it harder to produce more goods for people to consume. Another thing that I want to talk about, I'm talking about this tomorrow, maybe in the next video, is poverty trap. Poverty trap is what I was reading yesterday. Is when a group of people, individuals or nations, right, or the economies are trapped in a kind of a poverty where they cannot get out of it, and it becomes a self-reinforcement. Take for instance, if I have a car, right? Let's say I don't have a car, right? That means I cannot afford a car, and I don't have any money, I don't have any education, I live in a tent on the street, right? As I live in that lifestyle for so long, it becomes normal. So it becomes a self-reinforcement. Like I live here, this is my daily life. Meanwhile, when I go to school, I get education, like at Catholic University, I get to come up with new ideas. How can I get a new job? How can I make these policies? Like this is the post I'm trying to make right now. That idea puts you out of poverty. But what we see in the poor nations are, and I want to finish this video really fast before it ends, what we see is too rich for aid and too poor to put themselves out of poverty. So you have people in areas like in Africa, they have a land, they have resources, they have everything they need. So they are very rich by any means, very rich. Not in theory, in reality, they have gold, oil, resources, but they are too poor. They are rich to qualify for aid. It makes no sense if a country like United States sends aid to Africa, makes no sense. In fact, there should be no aid at all because they are richer than we are, but they are too poor to produce anything. They are too poor to have any output. So they lack the basic economic model, the output, which is capital, technology, and as well as labor and human capital, which is, you know, smart people to do the job. So that's 15 minutes of video. I hope that was enough, and like always, thanks for watching. I just came out of the gym. My arms are really paining, so I'm trying to get home and sleep. And other than that, thanks for watching. As always, see you. Ciao ciao.